up in just a minute. Item 4 was a conference with legal counsel on existing litigation. Council received a brief update from the city attorney with regard to that item. We anticipate that item will come back on your September 12 agenda for a more extensive discussion, but there was no reportable action at this time. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to item number 5, appointment of interim city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. As you recall, on August 9th, you directed myself and staff to conduct a recruitment for interim city manager to replace your previous city manager who resigned at that time. During that process, we contacted 13 qualified city manager candidates, and from that list presented you with 3 that you interviewed on August 22nd. From the August 22nd interviews that you conducted, one gentleman was invited back, Mr. Alan Parker, for a second interview. And at the conclusion of that interview, you instructed the city attorney to negotiate terms and agreements and a contract with Mr. Alan Parker. That has been completed. The second thing that we accomplished is a complete, extensive background investigation, which included references, former employers, to include former city attorneys, former city managers, a couple of former police chiefs that had worked with Mr. Parker, all very complimentary and very consistently appreciative of his service in those cities. As you know, Mr. Parker's experience is vast. He served most recently in the city of San Bernardino. Prior to that, in the cities of Seal Beach, Half Moon Bay, Oak Park, Illinois, just to mention a few. He does hold a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration from Chapman University and a Master of Arts degree in Public Administration from the University of Kansas. With that concludes my report. I would like to ask Mr. Parker if he would like to address the council and the community at this time.
Mr. Parker, come on down. And we'll even give you more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. That's the nicest introduction I've had in a long, long time. Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here. I want to thank the mayor and the council. I thought we had a good give and take on the interview. I come with open eyes, not open arms, but open eyes. I see Hemet has an excellent future ahead of it. I would like to get together as a team, not only with the staff, but with the elected officials too, come up with a meaningful strategic plan and get to work. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a nice rest, and I fully intend to give it my all. I want to thank the chief. He did a yeoman's job in keeping me informed and such, and I'll try and do the same when we trade places. So thank you very much. And I say this assuming you're going to execute my contract.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you
we
very much.
appreciate that.
That concludes the report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Sarah, do we have speakers on this?
We do. Our first speaker will be Pat Gregory, and she will be followed by John Wesson.
Good afternoon. The fact that the City Council chose to give less than a day's notice for a meeting at an irregular time slot is suspect. The fact that the City Council is spending or has discussed spending over $1 million for a 6-month contract for a person who seems to be questionably qualified for this job is beyond belief. In fact, when I first heard the qualifications of Mr. Parker, I really thought it was some kind of Facebook joke. Knowing the problems that this city has had with the turnover in city managers, this council's choice is bad. The proposed city, now, what I'm saying is based upon information that I've done research on the internet, which you can, sometimes take with a grain of salt. I've never met with Mr. Parker personally, but it's the information that I have seems to be a lot different than the information that has just been provided by council. The proposed city manager has filed personally bankruptcy twice over a relatively short period of time. A federal judge ordered him to take a financial management class, and he is the one this council has chosen to manage our city's finances. He's been asked to resign from his last city manager position in San Bernardino. He was fired from the cities that city council has just mentioned. He's had 3 failed businesses. One business that is apparently ongoing is in the payday loan industry, an industry that is close to legal loan sharking as you can get. And this is our council's choice for managing our city. This is either the most dangerous decision this council has ever made, or there is an untold rationale for this choice. Either way, the citizens come out losers, at least until next election day. The council needs to do its job and find a qualified city manager and not Mr. Parker. Thank you.
I would like to correct the record. You made the statement that he was going to be paid $1 million in over 6 months.
Right.
That's actually, he's getting paid the same salary that Alex was getting paid.
So that's $200,000 a month.
No, that's
$200,000 for the
$200,000
year.
a year.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for the correction.
You're welcome. Thank
Mr.
you.
Wesson.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the council, I just had a very short notice on this. I think it's improper to do it this quickly. We need a city manager that will be with us for a while, a long while, hopefully. I'm used to dealing with city managers that have been around a while. I come out of Orange County. Our city managers have been there quite a while. We need the consideration of everybody, perhaps a younger man, perhaps someone just recently out of college, who knows. But a 2-day notice on this doesn't even give the people time to come down and talk about it. I think it was rushed through quickly. There just wasn't enough time to investigate all that was offered. We've had less than a month now that we haven't had a city manager, and now you've already got another man coming in from a city that disposed of him one way or another. I think you needed to take some time and find the proper person. This gentleman doesn't appear to be so. I only have the internet to go by. I haven't had time to research it at all. But I think it needs a little more research before you approve him. He may be the man, but you need more time to really investigate what you got. Give us a man that's going to be here for another 10 or 15 years. Give us a man that's got some experience or a damn lot more qualifications than we have here. Thank you.
Senator Green, yes, I'm sorry, Green McDonald is your last speaker.
Mayor Krupa, City Council, I couldn't let this opportunity pass without speaking to one of my favorite subjects, and that is communications. And I hope our new city manager will hear. Our public wants to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. Just earlier today, I heard we want to hear from the Measure U committee. We put our faith in that oversight committee, and we haven't heard a word. I think communication is extremely important to address the city morale, as well as their acceptance and approval of all of you. So that's my piece.
Thank you, Murray. Council, comments? Go down the line. Russ, you want to start?
Sure. Notwithstanding some of the comments that we just heard from members of the public, I respectfully choose to disagree. I think that our candidate is extremely well qualified and experienced, and we heard nothing but favorable comments from all of the references that were checked, including secondary references, and I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running with a very experienced, qualified city manager and building a team and moving forward with our staff.
Thank you. Carly?
I too am excited about this choice, and it's unfortunate that you guys haven't had the time to do the research that you would like to have done, but I can guarantee that you will be excited by the performance. You know that I'm not a person that sits around and talks, but I'm a doing person, and I will tell you that I wouldn't vote for someone who would do anything different than that.
I think we all can sit here and form our own opinions without knowing all the facts. Because we know everything on the internet is truthful. But we did not take this decision lightly. We were looking for strong leadership skills, someone who could move this city forward in a very positive direction. Based on the information we received, not only from Mr. Parker, but also, as both council members had mentioned, past references who were in positions that had firsthand experience with his abilities. These were the reasons why we moved in the direction we did. And you keep saying, bear in mind, this is an interim position. We needed to get someone in place as soon as possible because the lack of direction that has taken place in the past months needed to be corrected. So, something as simple as a newsletter hasn't been able to get out. Something as simple as that. I can guarantee you this, that this community will get their newsletter to find out what the city is doing in the near future. So with that, I welcome Mr. Parker. I think that our staff will be very grateful for him in that position, and I look forward to working with you.
Michael?
Yes. I want to first thank our citizens that came out and spoke and gave us your opinion, whether for or against hiring Mr. Parker. So I want to thank you for that because you took the time out of your schedule to come out here and address the council, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure that my fellow council members appreciate that as well. I do want to say that you both have made comments that you did very little research on him and what you found on the internet. I can tell you that all of us on council did a lot more research than just Googling his name and doing research from the internet. We actually checked references, met with him, interviewed not just him, but other candidates. And Mr. Parker had the qualities that we as a council were looking for based on what we're hearing from the public and what we're hearing from staff. And so we're taking all of that information together, putting it together, and coming up with a candidate that met that, and Mr. Parker was the top candidate for that. I know that there's been talk about why we can't hire somebody from Hemet. I can tell you that Mr. Parker is probably the closest to Hemet that we're going to get. Having a city manager that was from Hemet, that ship has sailed a long time ago when a previous interim city manager was let go. So I want to welcome Mr. Parker. Thank you for wanting to be here in Hemet and to bring the leadership that you have to Hemet, that we can get Hemet going in a positive direction for everybody in this community, and I thank you.
Thank you, all of you, and thank you to the public who has come out. I too, read things that are on the internet, and going into the interviews, I sometimes made up my mind on things that I thought I was going to hear. I was pleasantly surprised. I think Mr. Parker is exactly what this city needs at this time. I think his leadership skills, his consensus building, his strengths are exactly what this city needs. We need to go forward. We need to forget about the past at this point, although keep it in mind because we do have a lot of things haunting us from our past. that we need to deal with, but we need to deal with all of this in a straightforward, upright manner. We need direction, strong direction with staff. We've got the best staff in the world, and I think you will find that out, Mr. Parker. And time was not on our side. Our police chief has a job to do other than an acting city manager. We definitely took that into account with going forward as fast as we did. But again, if you look at the contract, at the staff report, this is probably the best offer we have ever had going and looking at a possible city manager, in that we are going to be working with, quote, an interim city manager to see how we fit. Most people don't ever get that opportunity. So we get to work with this gentleman, staff gets to work with him, and we get to see if we're going to be able to make it work in the future. That's so much better than spending $40,000, $50,000 with a headhunter to find someone to interview, sit in an interview type of thing for 2 or 3 meetings, hire them, and then find out within 2 or 3 months that the person you interviewed is not really the person that you hired. And we've gone through that before. So I think this is probably the perfect scenario for all of us, for the city of Hemet, and for all of you. And I would urge you to stay involved. You know, we plan to put his feet to the fire. So I guess with that, I would like to publicly thank you for the excellent job you always do for us. And while I don't like the suit, Council, what's your wish? I'm waiting for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the terms of the interim agreement with Mr. Parker.
So we are going to approve the appointment and approve the employment agreement, A and B.
Yes.
Right? I need a second.
I'll second that.
And would you please all vote? Wow. We have an interim city manager, Mr. Parker. Welcome aboard. Are there any future agenda items that you wish to list at this point, or should we let him get over to City Hall and see the list we already have? That's true. Actually, an hour and a half, because we're open until 5:30. So with that, we are adjourning to September 12th at 7 p.m. Welcome aboard.
That was good.